everybody, and welcome back to MDG Media, Europe's disc golf hub. We got final round, front nine coverage from the MPO lead card from the last event of the Disc Golf Pro Tour Europe season. It's been a fun ride. I'm here in the studio with Elias Luukkonen, Andrew Gum here, and we're going to walk you through this last round of the European season.
So nice to be here, Andrew, with you, and as you said, last round of the season, gonna be the last commentary of the season for us. Pretty sad, but we have an exciting event going on, so let's focus on this amazing course too.
Oh yeah, Mäetaguse here in eastern Estonia. It's really fun, lots of distance required. We got Roland Kõur representing Estonia, 10-13 rated, Pro Discus sponsored. And yeah, super talented youngster. We've seen him quite a lot this year popping off.
Great -9 round from him in round number 2. Eetu Tuominen, also a young player, only 17 years old. Great driver, but even a better putter. I think he's one of the best putters we ever see on tour.
We have another Estonian on the card, Mathias Villota, also quite young, sponsored by Prodigy Discs from Pärnu. And yeah, he's capable of scoring really hot rounds as well.
And Eeka Kölhi, really hot place in the last event, Järva Open. He played really good first and second round, and then in the third round kind of fell off. Really not a bad performance, and he has a great game for this course. Starting on hole number 1, what's the play here?
Yeah, this one's pretty wide open. The thing not to do is, I guess, go OB left there, trying to push it towards the pin. If you got the power to attack it, go for it, right? It's not too much that can go wrong unless you saw it off early. You don't see the back OB come into play, and you rarely see people go OB right as well. So I guess it's just about kind of controlling the angle, hitting the disc hard, and hoping you can kind of just crash it up into the hillside there near the basket for a birdie look.
With 14 under, he is representing Team Pro Discus. It's Roland. Go!
And interestingly enough, we had a 45 minute to an hour long weather delay for the thunder and potential lightning before the lead car started, so they are starting a little bit later than usual.
Yeah, definitely stormy weather. Even overnight there was major thunderstorms, and when I got to the course in the morning, there was some carnage with some of the tents and things were blown around. There we see pretty good shot from Roland. He's up there, kind of.
11. Eetu Tuominen.
But yeah, storms rolled in again later in the afternoon and caused some delay. We've had pretty much rain on every final Sunday and championship Sunday of this European season somehow. So no surprise it happened again.
Yeah, it's tough, of course, for the players, and nothing the tournament organizers can do about it. Bad weather is always rough for the entire event. But Eetu here, going with a nice flat to overstable finish. Not the longest throwing player, but that's a solid shot. Circle 2 for sure.
On the first tee pad, currently holding the score of -11, representing Team Prodigy, it is Mathias Villota.
Yeah, Mathias, a rare two-sport athlete, high-level footballer, soccer player as well.
Interesting form, going with a pretty short reach back, doesn't really extend that arm fully. Still decent power on the backhand. And that's going to be right side edge of circle 2.
MPO lead card with a score of -10. Get your hands together for Eeka Kölhi.
Finishing the season really strong, kind of trending in the right direction here. Having some really great performances these last couple events. Be great for his confidence moving into next year.
Yeah, definitely a player that has all the skills required, just the consistency that's missing. This one needs to get long though, and unfortunately, short OB. That's exactly what you were talking about, being the miss on this hole that you want to avoid. Especially in the headwind we had today, it's pretty easy if you put it a little bit nose up to fade out early.
Yeah, it's quite a pump to get all the way up there. 129, but it's way uphill at the end. We just say it plays more like 140-ish.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's a great distance separator. We don't have a lot of holes like this on tour, especially on the European tour. As everybody from Circle to Eeka, they actually gave him a very generous spot there. So was still able to run it for the par. Let's see Eetu. Not quite. Good run still.
Good bid. Hits the cage. But yeah, I would say this isn't a very typical European course with the kind of more distance required and being quite open with the OBs. But it's beautiful. Really well manicured. Really thoughtfully designed as well.
Yeah, I love this course. I told this to the tournament director, Timo Juursalo. I think this is my personal favorite course on tour to play. It's so nice to play, seeing the disc fly and a lot of nice angles, a lot of glide. As we're moving on to hole number 2, 131 meters, a really difficult par 3, especially in today's wind. Once again, it's similar direction as hole number 1, so we're gonna have a headwind on this hole again. The play is gonna be either an overstable forehand, try to get through this gap and to the right. Forehand is pretty difficult to get all the way to the circle though, so if you want to park the hole, you'd probably rather go with a turnover fairway driver with the right hand backhand.
Hardest hole on the course today, 3.52 average. So yeah, definitely a pretty interesting shot shape. Once you hit the gap here, you got to go way downhill towards the green. I'm not sure if was that a layup to the mouth of the gap from Roland?
I think so. It looked like he was just playing really wide and safe, because there is the OB on the short right side of the corner. This one may be challenging it, but getting just past. Needs to slow down before the long OB though.
Nice result there. Drifted a little bit just outside the circle, but it stays safe. Clean through the gap though with a nice line. Just a kind of hyzer layup there to the gap. Shoot down for the par.
I can see that play in today's conditions, as the headwind is a little bit stronger than you can probably see on the video. Even Eeka there going for a very good looking shot, but just that gap is pretty tiny compared to the angle and the distance that you have to hit it as.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique hole. I can't really think of one that's exactly like this that I've ever played. Good approach there, just outside the bullseye ring. Looks like the Estonians are just happy to play this one for par. Ooh, nice.
Well done there. Showing off, I feel like we say this every time there's some Estonians on the card, but the Estonian forehand, those two players actually not having the traditional insanely long Estonian forehand, but definitely very accurate on that side.
Yeah, certainly serviceable for the approach game at the least, and really nice putt there. Was he OB long? Thought we saw that in bounds, but okay. That was a birdie. Great birdie.
Yeah, I think we just have a little miss in the graphics there, but Eetu did take the birdie on this hole number 2, so he was barely in bounds of the drive.
Yeah, I was definitely safe. I was almost sure I saw that, but yeah, only the third birdie of the day, so not the best win for it. Able to get it done. Solid bonus there. Yeah, hole 3 is a very long par 5, 325 meters to be exact. It bends a little bit from left to right in the beginning and then back right to left about 3/4 of the way down. It's OB lining the right and left side all the way. A few trees kind of sporadically placed in the fairway, but mostly open and really beautiful green, quite tight, uphill on a slope with the OB just behind the basket, about 5 meters. What do you think about this hole?
It's a great hole. In the calm, it might be a little bit easy for being a par 5. It's not super long for the longest playing or for the longer throwing players in the field, but today we have a headwind on this hole. And looks like at the moment the headwind isn't actually super strong, so probably not playing too different compared to calm. Maybe the player's just throwing a slightly more overstable disc. And that's kind of the play here, just throw something straight off the tee. You want to get as much distance as you can while still staying comfortably on the fairway. But I'd still say that staying on the fairway is more important than getting a lot of distance.
This is danger. Well, it's definitely OB, just hyzer's way out, left side. That's what you want to avoid on this one. You just got to keep it in the middle. Don't have to necessarily go max distance every throw, but just keep progressing, like you said. Just keep it in bounds. Good move on this one. Getting the full flight. Back to the center fairway. Beautiful shot. Eeka trying to bounce back after a couple bogeys to start. This was fine, yeah. Good move on that one. Flattens out. Finishes nicely in the middle.
Couple of really nice shots there, and OB left. Lone OB left there from Roland. But even from here, the par is very much gettable. The problem with being this far back is that you're almost guaranteed to challenge those trees in the middle of the fairway, and Roland looks like he's actually in the middle of them with a good gap towards the green, so a little bit fortunate there. And I think Eetu would like to get over and left of those trees, ideally, to have an open look at the green.
That's a pretty good position there. Eeka. Big shot here. Fading left. Plenty of room over there. Yep, good spot. It's a little bit easier to approach from the left side of the green, so I guess being on the left, on that second or third shot, pretty good way to go. Have more of a straight open look there coming in. Similar for Mathias.
And on the approach, you really want to avoid going long, as there is OB just about 6 meters long. And that's a perfect shot from Roland. Plays really good for the spike hyzer. With the uphill grade, it's spike hyzer, I feel like it's getting slowed down even more than on flat ground. Distance control is pretty easy on this hole, even though the OB is that close to the basket.
Super sweet approach there. Yeah, it's more steeply uphill than it looks on camera here, I would say. The basket, yeah, on a very, very steep hillside. This is all reclaimed land from an old dump site, so lots of nice shapes to the land.
Yeah, good knowledge there. I didn't even know that, but it makes a lot of sense. I feel like the course has those, nice mellow shapes on the hillside that you might find on that sort of land, as everybody is on the green and pretty close. Eeka with the only one outside of bullseye. Easily done there for par, I think, for the birdie. I'm pretty sure he didn't go OB there on any of his shots.
Yeah, definitely a birdie. Having some issues with the automated graphics. Hopefully we'll get that sorted out as soon as possible. Maybe it'll be fixed already by the time you see it. Nice birdie there from Eetu as well. And we see the leaderboard. Daniel Davidson on the chase card with you as well.
Disc Sport and Innova share the same values and understanding how the sport should grow.
Rene has always been a great partner of Innova. His vision of disc golf in Estonia and the Baltic region is exactly what we're looking for.
Our goal would be to grow the sport, grow the brand, so that eventually, in the long run, Innova will be #1 in Europe again.
So yeah, as we saw on that leaderboard, people there on the chase card making moves, yourself included. How are you feeling out there today?
We had an amazing chase card. Everybody was pushing each other, and yeah, it's just a great vibe on the card as we're moving on to a very scoreable hole number 4. 100 meters, par 3, just slightly uphill, but really not playing that far. You're gonna see players throwing an overstable disc, either a mid-range or a fairway driver, on a slight flex line. Hopefully bend it a little bit to the right and finish left to the hillside. If you want to play it with no risk of roll away though, you might as well just finish 5 meters right off the basket and take your putt from there.
Wind is ripping, doesn't make it any easier there. Hits the hillside and rolls into C2. Not a super uncommon result. It is a very steep sloping hillside. You got to be careful when coming in there. Do see quite a few rollaways. Straight tailwind, a little bit right to left maybe. It's quite gusty. Good shot there.
Yeah, mostly tail here. It was you could put a lot of anhyzer on the disc, and if it was overstable, it was definitely coming back with that tailwind, making the disc more overstable. And that's kind of the shot I really like from Eeka. There's no chance of it ever rolling away when you land on that right side. And it's still not that difficult of a putt, 8 meters and going uphill, so you have a really safe angle.
It's a pretty sheltered green too, as far as this course goes. So, if you're looking up at it, it's not the worst case. Eetu off the top, stays put though, there in the bullseye. It's kind of scary when you hit metal on this one. You don't want it to come back. Oh, chains out, low right, but could have collected there.
I feel like Roland's putting has been the most impressive part about his game this season. He's really good at making putts from that 9 to 15 meter range, and he's putting so hard. Even the circle 2 putts look really short for him. I think that's super impressive and pretty typical for a young player like him to putt very hard. Not to overlook Eeka's good birdie there. After a bit of a rough start, he's going to be bouncing back.
Yeah, a couple nice birds in a row. There, Mathias gets one. He's under par for the round. Keeping it clean. Everybody's still in the mix, and as we mentioned, that chase card heating up, so incredibly exciting final day here and at the final event of the season. There's been a lot of really good storylines. This no exception.
For sure, and an interesting fact about the start of the round, they actually couldn't see the chase card's scores because we had a small scoring problem, so we were marking the scores on the chase card, but these guys couldn't see our scores on the live, so making it a little bit more interesting for the lead. As we're moving on to hole number 5, downhill par 4, 217 meters. You want to throw your overstable driver off the tee, just throw it out there flat, slightly towards the right side and get that fade back, because it's playing into a headwind today, so no chance of flipping over to the right, hopefully with a good play. And then just take a straight shot to this green, hopefully miss a tree or two, or just hit your gap perfectly pure. It's pretty tricky though, as the gaps are really small on this hole.
So many guardian trees on the green there, and it's again a steep sloping hill, so not easy to get yourself close for a birdie look. But yeah, the tee shot's, I guess, pretty routine maybe for most of you guys. Just smash on the overstable disc like you said. You don't want to pinch yourself off too much on the left side, or it's kind of hard to go in with a big hyzer into the green. But you got to be careful about that OB on the right side also. So it's a pretty generous fairway though, really.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say it's pretty unlikely to see somebody missing this fairway to the OB. It's more about the angle that you create and really about the distance. You can bite a lot off on this tee if you get the right angle, as we're going a little bit downhill, but everybody so far, decent distance and also a pretty decent angle to the green.
A lot of speed on that. A little bit low maybe to get all the distance he was hoping for. over there on that right side, which does open up the angle maybe to the green a little bit better. But you ideally want to be a little further up the fairway on the drive, would you say?
I think so. If you're further up, you have to also be further left. So I think for being as right as he was, it's a great place to be. And this needs to stay up on that hillside, not quite. There's some very severe left to right slope if you're right side of the basket. So I think you'd rather finish a little bit left than right on this hole.
Definitely a tight and scary green. That catches some trees on the way in. About 30 meters from the basket now. Oh, okay, the second kick was all right. First one looked rough.
A little inside from Eetu. Let's see if he gets through. Really good kick there, wow.
Yeah, some serious tree love on the green. Puts him there with a birdie look. Long jump putt approach there from Mathias. That's way uphill. Had the power to get it all the way there. Gave it a good chance. Eeka chips up one there, close. Maybe a bit of a soft run. Oh, look at that. Connecting for the par?
I think it's for the birdie again. Yeah. Sorry for the incorrect graphics on the screen. That was definitely for the birdie. And Eetu for the same thing after fortunate to break. Important to utilize that. He's gonna be feeling very bad otherwise. And as I mentioned before, just a really solid putter.
Yeah, I've been super impressed with what we've seen from him this season. He was quite a new name for me at the beginning part of the season. I didn't know too much about him, but he's definitely arrived on the scene and performing incredibly well. Well-balanced skill set, all the tricks in the bag that you need to get up on top. Hole 6 is a beautiful par 4, 234 meters. You really just want to shape something down the middle here on the tee shot, and then you have two choices based on where you're at. You see a lot of people here kind of trying to land somewhere up by the sign if possible, kind of randomly placed there in the middle. But then you can go the way the drone's flying here on the left. It's a little bit more open in the beginning, and then you got to move pretty hard left to right at the finish of it. Or you can kind of try to sneak in on that inside line. It's a bit tighter, but maybe a bit straighter.
Yeah, I think most players are actually going for that inside line, because the outside line that the drone was flying through takes a massive power or massive amount of power on the forehand, or you can go for some sort of a very flippy roller. Let's see, the drive here just needs to fade left for Eetu. Pretty good result there. He's a little bit to right, so that angle is going to be more pinched for that inside gap. He's going to have to go with a bit of a flex shot, compared to if he was more left, it would be more of a hyzer.
Roland clips some branches and gets knocked down early, but it stays in bounds. Pretty far back there, but he's got a lot of power, so he might still be able to get up there for a birdie look. Hyzer flip here from Mathias. Pushes up nicely. Good spot there.
Very smooth shot. I saw that live, and it looks like, or especially live, it looked like he didn't put any effort into the throw, just whipping the arm, and that's what he does. Eeka though, really long drive. That's a lot of distance.
Wow.
Getting past the sign is very impressive on this one.
For sure, yeah. I didn't know he had that much power. Nice toss there. But yeah, like you were saying with Mathias, he's very explosive, but yeah, not with the typical kind of like fluid reach back. It's more like coming from some different muscle groups or something. Just a different style of throw, I guess.
Crazy approach from Roland all the way back. I think he had 130 meters to go from there. Super good. And Mathias, a little bit lucky, but that happens pretty often on this hole. You can, I'd say more times than not, you're actually going through those trees if you're a little bit early. Let's see if Eetu gets the same. And no, that was the other time, I guess. It's 50-50 if you go through or not.
But yeah, there are some lines, like you said, some gaps, sneaky on the inside. This is through the pier part of it. The meat of the gap gets him into C1. Real nice.
And let's see another look at Eetu's circle 2, almost even outside of circle 2. But you can see great control of the angle. That's what I really love about this putt. He gets good speed without that much effort, so he can really focus on the angle, even from far out.
Solid birdie there. And Eeka's bounced back nicely. Started out pretty slow, but getting on the birdie train. Keeping it rolling.
This is Roland to save that incredible birdie from way back. He hit one of the first branches you can hit off the tee and still able to get to 5 meters for the birdie. That's important not only for his lead for the tournament, as our chase card is actually doing some pretty serious work. Daniel was 5 under through 6 holes at this point.
Yeah, that was a crazy hot start. As you mentioned, we weren't able to see on PDJ Live what the chase car was doing because of that scoring anomaly. And when they did... But yeah, as we saw when the scores did finally come through, yeah, Daniel was absolutely shredding it. I think he was like 6 or 7 down at that point when the scores finally came up. Moving on to hole 7, this one's a beauty. What do you see here?
I very much agree. It's one of the more beautiful shapes. Just dead straight, but you do have a little bit of space. You can go for a hyzer flip, a bit of a flex shot. Most players just going dead straight, maybe slight hyzer, flip up to flat. And surprisingly enough, I feel like a lot of players are actually leaving it short because there's a bit of a low ceiling and the hole looks really short. But it's so easy if you're going with a mid-range to leave it a little bit low and then you're just not quite getting there.
Yeah, classic disc golf hole here, straight down the middle through the beautiful birch trees. And yeah, Roland does well, pin high, about 7 or 8 meters.
I like the hyzer to flip up shape here. There's some OB on the right side, but it rarely comes into play. Eeka there, really stable disc and on a pretty severe hyzer.
Do you think he just missed the angle there? Or?
I think angle, maybe the line as well. I think he maybe wanted to put it a bit more to the right.
Yeah. That's a great one. Right there next to the bullseye. Sweet.
And Mathias here, he's kind of doing what I was talking about, leaving it a little bit low, which is easy to do with a slight low ceiling on this hole.
Yeah, this is the easiest hole on the course for the MPO. They're really feasting on this hole, being at that shorter distance. 2.67 average. Definitely one you want to get. Great bid there, but comes up just a little bit short on it.
Roland down inside the circle, great hit there, really solid looking stroke in the last 3 holes. And he's not letting anybody get any strokes on him right now. It's great to see a young player that hasn't really... He's not the guy that has been winning the big tournaments. He's been in contention already in Copenhagen. We actually saw the same pair, Roland and Eetu, both playing for the win. Both of them coming up just short there, but that's actually the tournament both of them got their US DGC spot from, so they're not playing for that. An extra feature for a lot of players in this tournament trying to get that elusive US DGC spot.
Yeah, and Roland turned some heads at the European Open as well. I believe are they both 16 or is it 17 now? They're 17, yeah, but they're young, super talented, really bright future. And they're already playing for wins, like you said, but haven't really got the big ones. Hole 8, par 4, 228 meters. Yeah, nice open fairway again. Left to right off the tee. You kind of want to turn the corner if you want to attack it for birdie, and then what you see is what you get here on the approach. Just kind of the baskets sitting there with some OB protecting it, but not really many trees to worry about here. So just get it out there and then see where you're at and try to put it close for a birdie.
For the higher up cards in the tournament, it's a pretty easy hole because the drive, you can just throw as far as you can. Throw something stable enough that it's going to come back at the end of this Anheuser flight. Where Roland is not huge distance, but still very much fine. He's not going to have much more than 105 meters left. And if you get some more distance, you can easily get within mid-range, even putter distance from the green.
Yeah, it's playing a lot different than the FPO as a par 5 for them. Third easiest on the course for MPO. So like you said, yeah, definitely a birdie you want to bag up. Just kind of crush it off the tee and then chip it into the green, I guess.
Playing really good for a forehand approach. I think all of those three players are probably actually not going to be throwing forehands. Eetu and Roland are a bit further out and they're not the biggest of forehand throwers. They're more comfortable with the backhand from further out. I think actually same thing for everybody. Eeka is the only one that got some good glide on the disc. Everybody else either stalling out in the case of Roland or turning over early with Eetu and Mathias. But still from here, 110 meters to go.
And as you can see in the sky, some pretty dark clouds. There was a few different cells that kept moving in. There was always a worry about another rain delay, or lightning delay, I guess. There was some rain coming here and there, but yeah, there was quite beautiful sky.
It looks so cinematic as well as Eetu. That's a good looking shot inside the circle, and Roland also as expected going with the backhand, hitting the only thing in the way.
Just a random light pull. Squares it up, kicks left. That's super unlucky. Do you even think about those things in the fairway when you're throwing your shot like on a hole like this? You try to avoid it obviously, but
I think maybe he should. Honestly, I feel like most players are going for a forehand hyzer to avoid the risk of hitting that light pole. That's going to be a disappointing par. Pretty easy hole with the tailwind that we had today. As Mathias Villota, another really good run. I feel like all of his runs are looking solid.
Yeah, surely going to ring one of those up soon. They're so close. Nice to get a big highlight. Eeka slightly low left on that one. Not his most committed effort. But not far off either. There you go. Solid birdie. You would kind of expect to see maybe star frame from the lead card on this hole.
I mean, we had a star frame from the chase card, so some of these guys are definitely losing strokes to us, which honestly, the chase card, everybody is so close that they are the players that these guys should be worried about, if not each other.
Yeah, what does that feel like to be, chasing on the chase card there and starting to realize that it could be your day, that we do something special?
It's a great feeling. Honestly, we had such a casual vibe on the card. It felt like weeklies, but slightly more focus, of course, with the competition, especially when everybody kind of started heating up at this middle section of the round. Moving on to hole number 9, another very birdieable hole. Not the longest of par 4s, even playing downhill from the tee, but then back up to the basket. Want to get about 120 from the tee, you throw your overstable driver, hyzer or flat. Just try to get down to the fairway, a bit left. Left side OB doesn't really come into play, right side OB definitely does, especially on the approach. Yeah, the approach is, with the left to right wind, the hyzer plays a little bit tricky, but I still expect everybody to go some sort of a high approach here.
This one has got the stability to come back right to the middle. good distance and good placement as well. This is a little bit sawed off left. It's not a really bad mistake to make. The worst mistake is obviously to overturn it into that OB, so you can still attack from over there.
For sure. I think the only problem being that far left is that you don't actually see the basket, so the depth perception can be a bit more tricky on the approach. And Eeka really aggressive line. Surprisingly aggressive. Do you think he was going for such a close shot to the OB?
It seems quite risky, with the OB there kind of being the big mistake to make. I don't know what his intention was, but the result is fine anyway.
And same for Mathias there. Everybody in birdie position. And now Roland, he doesn't see the basket. He just really needs to aim at that light pole at the very end. Get barely past it. And a little short.
A little short on a very scary green. This one drops off pretty steeply right behind the bullseye, or right at the bullseye ring. And it can bite you. That's a really nice approach from Mathias. Sticking it there. For sure, birdie. Oh, this is kind of a little bit sawed off, and it finds the OB. What a surprising mistake from Eetu. He's been quite on point with all aspects of the game, but that one, quite a miss. Ooh, look at that.
Wow, did he even catch a bit of metal there? Weird bounce off the ground. I think he's still gonna be fine for the birdie, and look at that.
Look at that.
His putting is looking crisp.
That was huge. Scary green, right in the heart with the wind. That was a big time putt right there. There we see how difficult it is to deal with this green in these windy conditions. But Eetu made it look easy.
Very impressive. And Eeka, good birdie. Mathias, good birdie. And Eetu, even with getting a par, I think only that putt might give him so much momentum that it might kind of compensate for the OB stroke that he had on the approach.
Yeah, for sure. This one averaging just under par, which I think is pretty impressive. Like you said, it's quite scoreable, but with that green and with the wind, not easy. That's gonna do it for the front nine. That just flew right by. And there, look at these scores. Daniel in the lead, tied with Roland. Yourself right there, a couple strokes behind. Otto was on your card as well, right? So he's in the mix. Maxime, he's still hunting for a podium spot as well, at least. So man, really exciting action here from the chase card and the lead card. You don't want to miss the back nine of this and the final video of this European season. It's been a ton of fun being here in the booth with you, Elias, and thanks everyone for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you for the exciting conclusion.
Thank you for watching, and see you on the back.